Part 73. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 721. She has integrity. You can't do this kind of thing to take advantage of others. Then she took the size M black bunny girl costume that Maisumi Kamuro specially bought from the store from Oreki's hand. Then start walking in a direction. She had been to the park several times and knew there was a public restroom where she could change. 3 minutes later. Drop. Congratulations to the host for completing the side mission, taking a picture of my Sakurahime's bunny girl outfit. Get the host to get an unbreakable bunny girl outfit. The reward has been placed next to Sakayanagi Yuzu. Oreki. Oreki-san saw that the system had completed its task. Stare. But he felt someone was staring at him. It's two people. Kamuro-san and Sakurahime-senpai. Kamuro-san can ignore it. As for Sakurahime-senpai. Sakurahime-senpai looked over, her eyes were quite silent. Oreki-senpai, can you explain to me in detail the issue of youth syndrome you just mentioned? Obviously. This senior felt that since she had already paid the price to Senior Oreki, the other party should deal with the issue of transparency on her side. And this kind of thing. Of course, Junior Oreki said. I'll introduce you to someone who can handle it. So, is this the reason why you deliberately sent out "It's urgent," as a friend, Futaba asks you to help, and then had people run over directly? In a corner of the park, a female high school student wearing glasses walked over expressionlessly and said. The other person was wearing the uniform of Ziozi Academy. He probably hadn't gone home yet, but he seemed to have gone to the bookstore. Because Oreki noticed that she was holding a bag in her left hand, which contained 2 books. Quantum Mechanics and Black Holes. This is Ryo Futaba. He doesn't seem to have a very high presence, but if you look carefully, you will find that this person gives off an aura of wisdom. Usually in the classroom, Futaba Ryo didn't read these books, but after applying to the science department, she started to pay attention to them. Even buying books like Quantum Mechanics Black Hole. It seems that she is quite satisfied with the science department. That's about it. In addition to the extraordinary things that happened to me, something extraordinary happened to Sakurahime-senpai. She became transparent. She became a transparent person, Oreki said. Senpai Sakurajima from class A of the 3rd grade, but Ryo Futaba frowned and said. Isn't she right here? And she gently pushed up her glasses and looked in the direction where my Sakurajima was standing now. You guys are really having fun, Futaba even added. Because in her eyes, Sakurajima Mai is wearing a bunny girl costume. You can still see me, my Sakurajima also looked surprised. In fact, from this perspective, Futaba has quite a problem. Because Kamuro-kun can't see Sakurajima Mai but she can. Is she a special person? She really is a special person. In the original work, Futaba also suffered from puberty syndrome and split into Matataha. But Futaba seems to be fine now. So Oreki said. Then I leave it to you, Futaba, Oreki-san said. The essence of adolescent syndrome is psychological problems. That's it, Oreki said. Futaba-san, I hope you can provide some psychological counseling to Sakurahime-senpai. Psychological counseling? She didn't take the qualification certificate in this area, and she didn't have that much relevant knowledge. Futaba originally wanted to refuse. But looking at Sakurahime-senpai's seemingly expectant eyes, Futaba frowned. Oreki's body has a supernormal condition, and now Sakurahime-senpai has also had a supernormal condition, so is it possible that this will happen to others, even her? So maybe we can get a solution from Sakurahime-senpai. Futaba thought about it and decided to go ahead. And she didn't know that this was just the beginning. There is a person who will continuously push patients to her. Chapter 345. Is it difficult to win Shinomiya Kaguya? Library. After being thrown to Houtarou, Sakurajima Mai followed Houtarou to the library. Then he looked at Houtarou borrowing books. In fact, there is nothing we can do if we don't follow. After Oreki senpai left, she tested it again, and it seemed that only Houtarou in front of her could see her. You are a first-year Houtarou senpai, right? In the library, Sakurajima Mai said as she watched Houtarou lingering on the bookshelf. Sakurajima senpai, do you know me? Houtarou, who was holding a book Introduction to Psychology, looked over. Occasionally I see you asking for leave alone in physical education class, my Sakurajima said. Houtarou. Is it? What Houtarou was thinking of was a book she had read that said lonely people would attract each other. In other words, this Sakurajima senpai is probably in the same situation at school. So, what book do you want to borrow? Although Sakurajima Mai doesn't have many friends, she has been an idol after all and knows the atmosphere. So she knew that she had just said the wrong thing, so she changed the topic, but the topic she was asking now was also what she wanted to know. Because Houtarou actually had several books in her hands. Everyone has mental illness. Psychological research. What I have learned all my life is the master of psychological management. Touch your heart. Time management master. It seems to be all related to psychology. Oreki pushed your affairs over, Houtarou said. Considering the future situation, I want to see if there is any way to deal with it. If some puberty syndrome is going to happen on her side, then maybe she can handle it if she knows the response plan. So this is why she took on this task. Only. You have a good relationship with Oreki Houtarou, Sakurajima senpai was a little curious. He himself proposed to be lifelong friends or something like that, Houtarou said. In other words, it's like a close friend, even though I don't like him very much. Houtarou paused, then said, but having a best friend for life is nothing to hate. Is it? Sakurajima senpai blinked. She actually wants a close friend or something. So, she waited for Houtarou to borrow books. Houtarou's operation is probably to learn psychology and then see what psychological problems she needs to deal with. Although it is most convenient to see a doctor if you have a mental problem, and there are some children of famous doctors studying in the school, but unfortunately, it seems that the only people who can see her now are Oreki senpai and Houtarou senpai in front of her. As for her family, she is a single parent. And the mother in the single parent family stopped seeing her 3 days ago. And the other side. Having returned to his residence, Oreki called up the main mission of the system. Main mission: bring order to chaos. Mission requirement: remove Chika Fujiwara's position as student council president. Mission period, 29 days. Mission progress, 50%. Really? Progress has not changed yet. Although I have plenty of time, I need to hurry up this time. The reason is simple. My Sakurajima has puberty syndrome. Oreki felt that if he didn't deal with this main task first, he might encounter other people with adolescent syndrome, especially the Koga Tomo in the original work. That classmate Tomo Koga can travel back in time in the original work. As long as she encounters problems, the day when the puberty syndrome attacks will cause her troubles. What's even more terrible is that when Oreki checked the school roster, he also found the other party's figure. A student in Class C, first grade. So, in order to avoid problems, he decided to quickly complete this main task first. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 722. In. As usual, the student union will conduct a summary of its work and re-election after 2 weeks. And if the student president himself chooses to substitute someone in advance, it is also possible. Ordinary election: Oreki can let himself go. Accumulate popularity, participate in elections, obtain the principal's approval and become a candidate, etc. In fact, it is a bit troublesome. But there is one person who can clear the level quickly. That is Shinomiya Kagaya. She is Fujiwara Chika's best friend. As long as Shinomiya Kagaya opens her mouth, there is nothing Chika can refuse. Moreover, her own influence can directly pass the student council president in one day. So he is going to do some work in this direction first. Zyuzi Academy is an institution that includes kindergarten, elementary school, junior high school, and university. The teacher education it possesses is the envy of the industry. And they have student unions at different stages. In the student union election of Shichi Academy, basically only the student union president needs to be elected, and vice presidents, secretaries, accountants, etc., are all appointed by the president himself after he takes office. Therefore, when the student council president resigns, all officers will also lose their positions. The hierarchy is strict and completely imitates the current prime minister and cabinet system. Not only that, the student union here has greater authority, directly overriding teachers, having its own special funds, etc. Almost independent of the school. At the same time, Hideki Academy is grand, even stylish. The ingredients inside are either young men or young ladies. And these people will control this country in the future. Currently, the person with the highest status in the school is Shinomiya Kagaya. The Shinomiya family is also the first family. The status is exalted and the power is strong. And now, brush. Oreki-san came to the student union early in the morning and found that Shinomiya Kagaya had arrived. However, this Miss Kagaya did not look like the familiar sand sculpture beauty. What Oreki saw was Shinomiya Kagaya's jet black straight hair shawl, and her ruby-like red pupils were unruffled. The whole person was as cold as ice. That is to say, without Shirogane Yuxing, Miss Kagaya is still in the state of an ice sculpture. And her ice sculpture state is absolutely rational. Not easy to cheat. It needs to be induced. The former Oreki-san might not be good at it, but thanks to his experience at Akyosei High School, he has become experienced in dealing with girls. Kagaya Shinomiya is now an ice sculpture. But there is reason. So we can start from this perspective. Make a normal transaction or bet with her and let her complete the agreement or bet. However, it is not easy to get her to agree to the bet. Oreki-san decided to fool him first. Speaking of it, Junior Oreki said. In addition to my accounting work in the student union, Shinomiya Senpai has also been doing secretary work, right? Shinomiya Kagaya looked over with cold but stern eyes. You mean? Shinomiya Senpai, please look out the window. Oreki-san was sitting by the window, looking out the window. Shinomiya Kagaya also looked over. Then I saw a girl holding a watering can in the flower garden on the first floor, carefully watering the peonies and rhododendrons she was taking care of. The girl has long orange hair and is very beautiful. The facial features are delicate and lovely. She is a rare beauty, and the most eye-catching thing is her bust. It's probably D, no, it's probably G. She was watering the flowers seriously. That student. Kagaya-san was reminiscing in her mind, if I remember correctly, he is a first-year co-educational student. My name is Ichinose, Hanamai Ichinose. I remember, she even greeted me. Oreki-san maintained a polite smile, indicating that Shinomiya Senpai was right. This girl is Hanamai Ichinose. Hanamai Ichinose, judging from the information that can be obtained through investigation. He comes from a poor family with a single parent, but he is a very hard-working and strong child. After learning that Zyuzi Academy offers free admission after passing the required score, I came here in order to reduce the burden on my family. This is also due to the rectifications that Hideki Academy has undergone over the years. In order to show that he does not only accept children from big families, he said that he would also recruit students fairly from the society. But the score line is very high. and only 20 students are admitted each year. And tuition is waived. These students are no longer required to be from rich families or gentry families, they can also be poor. Here, having a diploma from a high school student at Shichi Academy is almost as valuable as graduating from a top university in the world. Therefore, this is an opportunity for ordinary families, even the poor Ichino's family. So she worked very hard to study at home and finally passed the exam this year. However, after all, the students in this school are the children of upper-class people, and they care more about interests than friendship. Including Shinomiya Kagaya herself. The motto of the Shinomiya family is 1. Don't rely on others, be in charge. 2. Don't accept others, but take them. 3. Don't fall in love with others, no exceptions. Very strong, very, only interests but no emotions, including the contact between Kagaya and Fujiwara Chika, also originated from the Fujiwara family behind Fujiwara Chika. Certainly. Fujiwara Chika is a fierce person who will bring changes to people after contact. Shinomiya Kagaya did not say this. Then he set his sights on Ichino's Hanamai. In fact, she really knows this Ichino's senpai. After being admitted to Hideki Academy, Ichino's Hanamai applied for a work-study program at the school. The school waived her tuition and allowed her to work in the garden in exchange for meals in the cafeteria. This is Hanamai Ichino's. Now I am fulfilling my agreement with the school and taking care of the flower garden. Ordinary students don't come to school until 8:20, but she arrives at 6. It still looks very inspiring. It's not just inspirational either. Her character is very contagious. Although her family is poor, she has neither inferiority nor lack of self-confidence. A very hard life. Face every student with a smile. This made her have a small group of friends in this school. However, even like this, Ichino's was still bullied. When she came to school once, Shinomiya Kagaya saw someone walking in a car on Ichino's road. The car deliberately drove into the mud, splashing mud all over her skirt. This is a very superficial rejection and contempt. There are two types of students in Shichi Academy. One is like Kagaya, who has been a student of Shichi Academy since childhood. This kind is a pure school. Students who join in the middle, such as junior high school, or just join high school, are called mixed schools. Because there are very few students in co-educational schools, and they generally have low family backgrounds, they are easily looked down upon in school. And someone like Ichino's. Not only is it a mixed school, but it is also poor. I was immediately looked at with a colored look. People can hone themselves in competition with opponents, but it is also easy to feel a sense of superiority from comparison. This is what pure school people are like. I would like to recommend Ichino-san. Oreki-san said. If she can participate in the work of the student union, she can share a lot of pressure on us. At the same time, Ichino-san is a student in a co-ed school. Letting her join the student union can reduce the friction between the co-ed school and the pure school, Oreki said. You think comprehensively, the absolutely rationalized sculpture, Shinomiya Kagaya said. But have you considered it? Ichino's is the target of your scandal, and Fujiwara-san is still your ex-girlfriend. Wouldn't you feel embarrassed if you put people from both sides in the same student union, Shinomiya Kagaya said. And is there a problem with this? From Oreki-san's experience, he doesn't think there is any problem with this. Because in the Yuchin High School where he attended, the student council president was his girlfriend, and his girlfriend placed all her love rivals in the student council. Everyone gets along quite well. But I will think about it, but Shinomiya Kagaya said at this time. After all, she was Kagaya Shinomiya, and she didn't have much time to devote to the work of the student union. Moreover, the work of Fujiwara Chika's current student union is also coming to an end. So, it's not a bad thing to have people with tools that can work come in and do the work. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 723. And every time Shinomiya Kaguya passes by the flower garden, Ichinos always greets her. Unlike others who were in awe of her Shinomiya family, the other party seemed to greet her as Shinomiya Kaguya. This probably means that girls who love to laugh will not have bad luck. Her family background is not good, so she will get subsidies if she joins the student union. At the same time, as a student council member, those who want to bully her also have to think twice. Perhaps her resistance at school will probably become smaller. Just do it. Lunch break time. Shinomiya Kaguya came to the student union office. At the same time, she was accompanied by Hanami Ichinos from Class A, the first grade she had invited. That. Senior sister Shinomiya, you came to me this time. Ichinos came to the office, but seeing Shinomiya Kaguya speechless and in the state of an ice sculpture, he seemed to be a little stressed. Have you adapted to this school? Shinomiya Kaguya said. This is asking about her situation. This made Ichino-san a little flattered. Only I don't adapt, or I can say I don't fit in, Ichino said about the current dilemma. Most of the students have been friends since childhood and have formed their own circles, so they cannot fully integrate in, let alone have friends. The economic gap. That's a good analysis, Shinomiya Kaguya nodded. I would like to name you as the accountant of the student union. Originally, Oreki recommended the position of secretary, but after checking the other party's work, Shinomiya Kaguya felt that there was no need to make Oreki's life so easy. So I plan to let him do the more work-intensive secretary job, and let Ichinos take on the lighter accounting job. And this is what Oreki-senpai has guaranteed for you. I believe you can do the job. At the same time, don't refuse. After all, Kaguya paused. This is also one of the few opportunities for you to get along with each other openly. Chapter 346 Bet. Look, get along. Ichino-san was shocked. Shinomiya-senpai, what do you mean? Senior Oreki confessed his love to you in public before, Shinomiya Kaguya said. Meow meow, actually, this is the case, Ichino said with some embarrassment. I originally wanted to refuse. Did you originally want to refuse? Shinomiya Kaguya was actually a little surprised. Because Oreki Houtarou's appearance is still very good, and at the same time, the previous incident with Otomo Kyoko also gave people a very special feeling, and they felt that the other party was a good boy, and now he is using Chika Fujiwara as a tool to boost his popularity. And the possibility of running for student council president for future development, etc., are actually quite eye-catching. Result. Should Ichino's Hanami refuse directly? Oh. Correct. The other party may not fully understand Oreki Houtarou, so it is reasonable to refuse. After all, he has not even spoken before and suddenly confesses something, so the success rate may be low. But none of this has anything to do with the cold and rational Shinomiya Kaguya. Because of her family background and family motto, she didn't think it was possible for her to fall in love. Don't you like him? Shinomiya Kaguya said. How should I put it? Ichino-san seemed a little embarrassed. Because I have never been in contact with him, it is unfair to him and me to suddenly be confessed and accepted in such a way. Only. It would be a lie to say that I don't feel anything at all, Ichino-senpai said. Only. My previous thought was that I wanted to study hard, but my grades were very poor, and my family background was not good, so I had to work part-time, and naturally I didn't have time to fall in love. But things are getting better at home. My mother also said that she hopes I can be like an ordinary high school student. Oh. This. Kaguya knew this. After all, Hayasaka was arranged to collect information. Knowing that this itchy nose has been supported by Oreki-senpai with 50 million in cash, he has no financial worries. Although I can't live a wealthy life, the pressure is gone. Then will you agree, Shinomiya Kagaya said. No, but Itchy Nose shook his head again. Although I don't have to go to work, this time is saved. But I don't know much about Oreki-san, so I hope we can start as friends. Yeah. Shinomiya Kagaya already understands that this Itchy Nose schoolgirl is actually quite rational. The position of a mere accountant is fully qualified. Only. I actually invited Hanamai Itchy Nose to the student union. You are truly a devil. Junior Oreki did receive a message from the current student council president Fujiwara Chika. She already knew about Oreki's recommendation for Itchy Nose to join the student council. And after Kagaya's approval, she, the student council president, has no right to deny it. But there is still news circulating in the school that she and Oreki-senpai had a high-profile relationship, broke up quickly, and then Oreki-senpai confessed his love to a girl in the same grade. So, now inviting this other heroine in the news to the student union puts her in an awkward situation. An ex-girlfriend is attracted to a girl that her ex-boyfriend likes? It feels awkward to get along with each other, okay. She is capable enough to handle the work of the student union. After I came to the student union, I found that most of the work was done by Shinomiya-senpai. You don't want Shinomiya-senpai to work so hard, right? Chika Fujiwara seemed to have a weak point. She has many friends, but she has never been able to trust Kagaya-san and hopes to maintain friendship with her. Nature. I also regretted dragging the other person to the student union, and letting him do the work all the time. Besides, being able to bring your rumored love rival into the student union also publicizes your generosity. This is a good thing, Oreki-senpai typed. Kinhua. Kinhua felt that the other party was fooling her. But Oreki-senpai didn't continue to coax her. By the way, is there any blood swamp in our school? Oreki-senpai continued to send messages to Fujiwara-senpai. There is a swamp in disrepair behind the teaching building. What do you want to do? Chika Fujiwara also sent a message. I want to do a cleanup as a volunteer service, Oreki said. The blood swamp is a key plot point in the original novel. It was here that the male protagonist of the original novel fell in love with Shinomiya Kagaya. But Oreki was not thinking about things related to love. There are two events suitable for making a bet with Shinomiya Kagaya. One of them is to compare scores with each other. The other party is a genius, a giant in academic ability. And she is very proud of her academic ability, so if she can defeat the opponent, there is a high probability of winning her. However, the exam is in a week. Time stretched out. Oreki wanted to clear the level quickly, so he had to take a faster shortcut. And shortcut 2 is right here, blood swamp. There is a plot in the blood swamp. A student fell in during the cleanup, and no one was willing to rescue him, but Kagaya Shinomiya saved him personally. She is the eldest daughter of the head of the Shinomiya family and has a noble status. Although jumping to save people can gain fame, the biggest reason is her kindness. She didn't want to see anyone die in front of her. So, although it is disgraceful, it can be confirmed that whenever someone is in danger, Shinomiya Kagaya will jump to save them. And this can be used as a bet. I suddenly want to clean up some swamp. Chika Fujiwara didn't know why. But the student council president is very talkative. She agreed after Oreki-senpai said he was willing to take her to buy 2 lottery tickets that might win the prize for the purpose of borrowing her popularity for dating. Then, it's evening. The student union organized a cleanup of the blood swamp. Chika Fujiwara gathered about 20 student volunteers. The reason is that the swamp in the center of the school is in disrepair and no one has cleaned it. It would be bad if the students fell while they were passing by. Oreki Houtarou's strength first classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 724. So I want to tidy up the pool. But this is just a face-saving project. Most students think so. After participating in voluntary labor, they can get certificates, which will be very helpful for future credits and the like. So with this in mind, the participating students could obviously bring some carpentry tools to repair the guardrail of the swamp, but they didn't have any. I just asked everyone to bring something that looked like a long bamboo pole that could be used for fishing with a net on the top to catch garbage. As a newcomer, Ichino-san also participated. She is already an appointed member of the student union. As a representative of the student union, she cannot be absent. It's just that this pool is really bad. The pool was glowing with layers of green, and it was unclear how long it had been since it had been cleaned. You can see around a dozen boys and girls using the big colanders used to clean lakes to get dirt out of the lake. The lunch break is not very long, so I have to hurry up. Ichino's brought a bamboo pole, but her attention was half on the pool and half on the other two people. They are Shinomiya Kagaya. Then, the other one is Oreki-san. Oreki-san was looking at Shinomiya Kagaya in a daze. This is thinking. What rhetoric will be used later to make it easier to deceive the other party? Yes. Although Shinomiya Kagaya is cool and cold. But Junior Oreki was thinking about how to deceive the other party. He is an energy-saving person who saves effort and never wastes it. So, Oreki-san is holding a bamboo pole and scooping up garbage just like the other students. Then he spoke softly, "Shinomiya-senpai, what do you think? What will happen if someone falls now? Fall down? Fall into such a dirty pool?" Kagaya didn't respond immediately. She felt that Oreki-san was not asking about such a hypothesis, nor was he asking about other things, but just asking. If someone falls, who will save him? It's not a matter of whether we will save him or not. Because there is no doubt about this, she feels that Oreki-senpai, who has the experience of protecting Otomo Kyoko, should be like her and would not let others drown like this. So, Oreki-senpai, if someone falls into the water, will you go down and save her? Kagaya asked rhetorically. She felt that the current atmosphere brought by Oreki's junior classmate was not right. Junior Oreki smiled and said, "What do you think? I'm a landlubber." There is this answer. Do you want to save a drowning person because you can't swim? Are you desperate for your life? That's an acceptable answer, Kagaya said, because you can't swim, you're excluded. However, people are like this. Waiting for others to bear the burden for you. You never want to soil yourself. So, I probably won't go and save him. After all, I am a member of the Shinomiya family and have a high status. I cannot take risks so easily. It's very common for people to be dragged down instead of trying to save them. Kagaya explained. Seems very rational. But Oreki-senpai shook his head slightly as he listened. I don't think it's right. This is not what you mean. If something like this really happens, you will go down. Oreki-san said, because your thinking is very similar to mine, my idea is to go out and save people. Then the same goes for you. So, Shinomiya-senpai, do you want to take a gamble? If you choose to save people, you lose. Then, you drive Chika Fujiwara down, and you become the student council president. Grass. Fujiwara Chika was originally by Oreki's side. When she heard what he said, she almost wanted to poke the bamboo pole in her hand towards Oreki's junior classmate and stab him into the blood swamp. Because what nonsense is this guy talking about? At first, she and Kagaya-san speculated that this guy's abnormal behavior was because he wanted to be the next student council president. Result. Now, do you want Kagaya to be the student council president? Although Chika also feels that Kagaya is very capable and must be the most suitable person to be the student council president. However, Being the student council president is so tiring. Chika doesn't want to drag down Kagaya-san. Shinomiya Kagaya. Don't you want to become a student senior yourself? I do have this idea, Junior Oreki said. But that was my initial thought, because later I discovered that becoming the student president requires a lot of procedures and the preparations are very troublesome, so I decided to give up this opportunity. Let Shinomiya-senpai become the student council president, Oreki-senpai said. Kagaya. Completely confused. Because she couldn't find any advantage to Oreki-senpai after becoming the student council president. Can't understand the other person's thoughts. Of course she couldn't understand that Oreki was just doing a mission. I've already spoken out about the bet, Junior Oreki continued. And senior sister Shinomiya doesn't dare to challenge. Kagaya. Shinomiya Kagaya stared at Oreki Houtarou with stern eyes, but she found that Oreki's junior did not flinch at all. For her, Shinomiya Kagaya and the Shinomiya family, it is necessary to maintain the honor of their family. Think about it a little. Shinomiya Kagaya supported the elbow of her right hand with her left hand. He looked at Oreki-san with a scrutinizing gaze and said, "Okay, then let's make a bet. The Shinomiya family members cannot retreat." But Oreki-senpai, how do you continue this bet? If I choose to save people, even if I lose, but no one wants me to save them, let's talk about you, Oreki-senpai. Kagaya paused. You are still too young, but Junior Oreki smiled softly. It's easy, I just jump down. Hee hee. Kagaya did not continue to respond to Oreki-san. She still couldn't believe that Oreki-san was going to jump into the pool like this. Even if Oreki-san knows how to swim, there is a 1% chance of drowning if he jumps suddenly. There is no need to put yourself in such a crisis. And Ichinose was paying attention to these two people. She found that she was like a bastard. Even though Oreki-san was right in front of her, she hadn't spoken a word to her since class. So why do you start by being friends? Only. Her mind was also attracted to the two of them. Because she also thought about what she could do. If someone is drowning, then she will probably save people. But just like Shinomiya-san said, Shinomiya is very important, and she herself as a member of the Ichinose family is also very important. So she didn't dare think about what she would do if something happened to her when she went to save someone. She also became hesitant. At this time, the bat's body is floating, it's so disgusting dash. Ah, wait a minute, don't push me dash. Bump. Someone fell into the water. When Ichinose was thinking, it was really, someone had already fallen into the water, 0. Her companion tried to pass the bamboo pole. Can I catch this one? No, no. My body is hooked, cough cough dash. Although the voice of the girl who fell into the water was loud, her body was really sinking. Students at Shahid Academy require comprehensive development in all aspects, so there are very few landlubbers, and it can even be said to be almost non-existent. You should jump down and save her. But with this swamp like this, I don't know if I will get sick. The students on the shore did not take immediate action. All that showed was panic. Chapter 347 Kagaya, Abdicate, Kinhua. The students on the shore made no attempt to dive to save others. This is what it is. If the person jumps in and is not handled properly, the consequences will not be that the water is dirty and the person will get sick. In serious cases, the consequences will be that the two people die together or the person dies after saving someone else. But this is just an excuse for those who hesitate. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 725. What Ichinose had just been thinking about due to the discussion between Oreki-san and Kagaya became a fact. Everyone feels they can't take risks. Who will save her dash? Just as Ichinose wanted to shout, he found a man jumping into the swamp. "Are you okay?" The hero's body swam directly towards the girl who fell into the water. He quickly caught the girl who fell into the water, and then shouted towards the shore. The sound of rope, "Come and pull the rope." This made Itchy Nose react suddenly. She found a rope tied around the hero's waist. The other end of the rope is attached to the shore. A tall girl with purple hair held a rope. Shinomi Yasan seemed to have a straight face, but he also held the rope together. After that, Chika Fujiwara, who was in a daze, also started to come over to help. They were all holding onto the rope. Yes. There is danger in rescuing people. Even if he unfortunately drowns, a rope is tied around his waist. People on the shore can pull him up if he finds it. Even if you can't swim, you can still save people. Itchy Nose felt like he had been taught a lesson. Without any time to think, she immediately joined the people pulling the rope. 5 minutes later, the hero who dived to save people and the girl who fell into the water were both pulled up. The girl who was rescued just cried after she was rescued. Because at that moment it was like experiencing death, as if the past was passing by like a revolving lantern. For a flower like her that was kept in a greenhouse, it was very bearable to suddenly experience death and now have no urine. "Nice job, Shinomiya," Kaguya said expressionlessly. Yes. It was Oreki-san who just jumped into the pool to save him. And everyone is watching him now. Look at him with admiration. Feeling the eyes of the people around him, Oreki-san said quite seriously. "Don't be stupid, I will save her just because the drowning person is the daughter of the director of the Information Bureau, and now I am selling her a favor. At this school, it's important to connect with others and build relationships. I only act for myself," Oreki-san said. This was said too deliberately. Because if you do such a thing, you can just keep it in your heart instead of saying it out loud, which will make your good intentions looked down upon. Although some people lost some respect for Oreki-san because of what he said, there are also some people who can understand. Oreki-san was simply trying not to let the girl who fell down remember his kindness. It's a very kind gesture. This big celebrity in the school is going to be famous again. But at that time, Oreki-senpai was the only one who would do such a thing and think of tying a rope to his body to save someone. Fujiwara Chika shook her head slightly. She, the student council president, was to blame for someone falling into the water. After that, Oreki went directly to save people, but she didn't react. When she did react, she was already pulling the rope with Kaguya-san. So she was also a little scared. But Oreki-san continued nonchalantly, "Who would want to jump into dirty sewage? Human beings are always waiting for someone other than themselves to sacrifice. The more they have, the more difficult that person will be, the fear of losing." Hearing Oreki-san say this, the students around him lowered their heads in silence. Because they were all in the same state just now. In my heart, I had wanted to save people, but I didn't want to jump into the pool, and I was worried that something would happen to me. Put yourself first. Oreki-san glanced at Kamuro-san, who just helped pull the rope and now took out a towel. Then he took the towel, wiped himself, and walked forward, but stopped for a moment when passing Shinomiya Kaguya. Then, "Senior sister Shinomiya, don't forget your promise. You lost the bet you made with me." Kaguya pursed her lips. The bet she made with Oreki-san was that if Oreki-san bets her that if someone falls into the water, she will save them. The fact now is that someone fell into the water. Although it was not Oreki-san, Oreki-san jumped to save the person, and then she and Chika pulled the rope that tied Oreki-san together. He also participated in the process of pulling Oreki-san up. So overall, she saved people. In other words, she lost the bet. The people of the Shinomiya family are true to their word. Kaguya closed her eyes and opened them again as if she had completely accepted the result. "I will become the next student council president." Then he looked at the current student council president and said, Kinhua, please prepare yourself and abdicate. People around them have been paying attention to these two influential figures in the school. Listening to Kaguya classmates' voice, some people were already surprised. Because the election of the student council will not be held until the end of the month, but now Kaguya-san says, let President Fujiwara abdicate tomorrow. Then she gets on. Of course, with Kaguya Shinomiya's excellent family background, it would be absolutely fine for her to become the student council president, rather it would be better to say that she is expected by the public. Therefore, even if she made such a declaration, it would not cause much trouble. Oreki-san, on the other hand, was looking at the empty system screen. Main mission: bring order to chaos. Mission requirement: remove Chika Fujiwara's position as student council president. Mission period, 30 days. Mission progress, 99%. Oreki. Very good. Probably all it takes is Shinomiya Kaguya to take action and the progress will be over. See you next time, Shinomiya-senpai. Oreki-san has achieved his goal, so of course there is no need to stay here anymore. There is no need for him to take points for volunteer activities. After all, this thing is not important. But what he just did made him feel a little emotional. What I just did was actually replicating what Shinomiya Kaguya did in the original work. When someone fell into the water, she tied a rope and jumped in to save the person. The words were ugly, but her actions were very beautiful. Even if it is covered in mud, it still radiates light. And this scene made the original male protagonist notice and like her. But now, this love affair is probably gone. What Oreki-san didn't expect was that among the crowd, the new accountant was still watching him. She felt that Oreki-san, who was covered in mud at the moment, seemed to be shining brighter than usual or even more than usual. Oreki-san is very powerful. Originally I just thought the other person was handsome, delicate, and unexpectedly sexy, one. However, now I feel more familiar with each other and know more. At the same time, the other party also made her understand that rescuing people is not related to whether the family has money, but also to whether they are talented or have excellent academic performance. He just wants to save, so he saves. If he can do this, such a person will be so handsome even if he is covered in mud. Snort. Although lost. But the people of the Shinomiya family will not deny their accounts. But Shinomiya Kaguya also stared at Oreki's back. For her, this was the first time she recognized this person today. It's the same as what happened with Otomo Kyoko before. This guy is indeed very charming. Because there was an error in cleaning the blood swamp, fortunately, Ebony-san who fell into the water was not in danger, and it was safe to go to the infirmary for a checkup by the teacher. So this volunteer activity ended halfway. Except for Oreki-senpai, all the members of the student union came to the student union. First of all, let me introduce you to everyone. This is Hanami Ichinose, who will join the student union as an accountant starting today. And in fact, Kinhua didn't know what to say now. Because when they were in the blood swamp, Kaguya-san told her, Chika, that you should abdicate. So her position as student council president is about to be posted. Although there was nothing unhappy about it, being kicked out suddenly made me feel a little strange. And it's better for Kaguya-san to do it by herself. There is always a feeling that Kaguya-san will have a harder time. So, is this really okay? Kinhua looked at Shinomiya-san. This way Kaguya-kun will become the student council president. The Shinomiya family has its own honor to protect, Shinomiya Kaguya said. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, yet. Chapter 726. In other words, she agreed to the bet she made with Oreki-senpai in the blood swamp. Even if he has to shoulder the position of student council president. She is now the vice president and does most of the things that the president would do, so her current situation has not changed much. But said the cold Shinomiya Kagaya. I'm not completely resigned. Oh. That's it? So what should Kagaya-san do? Fujiwara Chika thought in her mind. But Kagaya moved quickly. Once the revenge plan in her heart emerged, she immediately took action. A special announcement is playing here. The last class in the afternoon is cancelled. Please all students gather in the gymnasium. There are important changes regarding appointments to the students' union. Now the notification plays again. The last class in the afternoon is cancelled. The announcement box in the class suddenly rang. And every class in the high school department played the same message. Let students gather in the gymnasium for the last class in the afternoon. This is what happened. Oreki-san returned to class, and in the afternoon, his classmate Ino had already come to his seat. Or what happened when we cleared the blood swamp at noon. She is a member of the disciplinary committee, but the quota was full and she did not join that batch of volunteers. As a result, after receiving the news, Oreki Houtarou, who was in the same class, went to save people. Fortunately there were no injuries. And now, it is clear that the session of the student union is coming to an end, but the student union has abnormally informed the appointment news. How could I know? Oreki-senpai said. Probably the student union is coming to an end, so Fujiwara-senpai will step down early. Ah, why is this like this? Ino felt that Fujiwara-senpai did a good job as the student council president. There's no need to end it early. But Oreki-san knew. This is when Kagaya Shinomiya started working. It's really fast. Shinomiya Kagaya is worthy of being the first heroine in the original work. So if the ice sculpture is so good, why should it turn into a sand sculpture? Stadium. The gymnasium of Ziozi Academy is quite large and can accommodate 7 or 8 classes to attend classes together. At the same time, it can also accommodate orderly gatherings of the entire school students. Here's the microphone test. Okay. Over at the Summit Station, there are student members of the broadcast club. She is conducting tests. The student council president Chika Fujiwara has arrived, but Chika now feels absent-minded. There is nothing that can be done about it. He is probably about to abdicate. Students from the 1st to the 3rd grade of high school came to the gymnasium and arranged neatly according to the team. Basically, each class is divided into 2 rows according to class, then 1 row for boys and 1 row for girls. Oreki-san is not at the top, he is in the middle of the team. This is because there is a girl with brown slightly curly hair standing in the same position as the girl next door. Wearing glasses, he doesn't look very impressive. This is Ryo Futaba. So, have you finished dealing with Sakurahime-senpai's side? Oreki-san said. You brought trouble here, Futaba said, pushing up her glasses. But the progress is pretty good. The books I borrowed from the library all basically explain the same thing, that is, once a child has a psychological problem, it is caused by the parents. In other words, it's the family that is primarily responsible. As for Sakurahime-senpai, her family is a single-parent family. Her father remarried, and she also has a half-sister. And she herself had a quarrel with her mother. The reason was that her mother, as her agent during her acting career, wanted her to take swimsuit photos. This was simply about money. Is it? But your expression seems to be a little regretful. That means you have the same problem. If it were the original work of young pig-headed boy, Futaba also encountered trouble and split into 2 people. Futaba's family background is very rich, her father is a doctor, and her mother has a hospital in her name, but these two people only combine for profit and have their own families. Therefore, Futaba is such a existence that is not valued by both parties. It's just the product of a combination of interests. Therefore, although a person lives in a big house, he is often alone at home. At the same time, even less able to appreciate the warmth of family. That's why there is something wrong inside. And this time, the microphone test was still being carried out at the summit, but someone also discovered an anomaly. By the way, isn't that Shinomiya Kagaya, Shinomiya-san? The assembly is held by the student union, so there is no doubt that Shinomiya-kan is there as the vice president, but everyone. Some of Shinomiya Kagaya's classmates noticed. Shinomiya-san's temperament seems to have changed. Someone said in surprise, before, it was like an iceberg that could not be approached. But now, I feel approachable. How should I put it, a little cute. Chapter 348 Two-Level Reversal, Let's Cry Together. Come on. They say girls change quickly when they fall in love. Could it be that Shinomiya-san is already in a relationship? I'm so envious. Who is that lucky guy? He can stop struggling for 10 lifetimes. The students' discussion was indeed a bit noisy. Oreki-san's brows moved. He felt that there was something wrong with this scene. Because in his sight, Shinomiya Kagaya was indeed present. But her coldness seemed to have diminished. And hairstyles also changed. He actually tied up his long black hair. Although it is not tied with a bow, it really has a cute feeling. As for this state, everyone knows very well that this is the state of Kagaya Shinomiya, the sand sculpture. Obviously the ice sculpture is the one doing the work. As for sand sculptures, they are usually capable of causing trouble. Oreki. Oreki-san felt a little uneasy. Think so? He took out his cell phone. What happened to Shinomiya Kagaya? Did he? At this moment, in the second-year team, the blonde-haired Hayasaka noticed that he had received a message on his phone. What do you mean? Kagaya-san hasn't changed. Oreki. Believe me, I'll give you a hammer. Shinomiya Kagaya has changed from an ice sculpture to a sand sculpture, nothing has changed. At this time, Hanami Ichinose, a member of the new student council, walked up to the summit. Got the microphone. Please give the student council president a speech. In an instant, the students all looked over, and the student council president certainly did not have stage fright. Kinhua seemed to have a slightly subtle expression, but she quickly took the microphone and started to announce. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for coming to the gym. This gathering actually has important personnel changes to be announced. First of all, I found Hanami Ichinose from class A of the first grade. Ichinose has always been kind to others since she entered the school. She has great talents in learning and interpersonal skills. I appointed her as the accountant of the student union. Snapped. The students listened and gave polite applause. Some students in the school still know about Ichinose. Some people also knew that Ichinose was from outside the school and was in a mixed school. So the applause was not very warm. But this is something Oreki already knows. And he looked at Kagaya Shinomiya, who looked approachable and had her hair pulled up on the summit. Kagaya-san seemed to be looking at him too. The eyes of both parties met in the air. And Oreki-san already understood. Really? Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 727. This Shinomiya-senpai is different. Although she kept her bet, she might not be honest. But she may not know that Oreki-san's mission is just to abdicate Chika Fujiwara, so as long as Chika abdicates, the mission can be completed. So if she wants to cause trouble, it will happen later. And now. Chika Fujiwara continued to hold the microphone. Then the most important thing. I have decided to resign as student council president here. It has been nearly a year since I took office as the student council president. During this year, I have been able to advance and retreat together with everyone, which is quite happy. And then there's the final exam. I hope to devote all my energy to studying, so I can no longer concentrate on the work of the student union. I cannot continue to serve as student council president. So I resign as student council president here. However, doing this is less responsible, so. She paused. Then he said, I recommend Kagaya-san as my successor. Kagaya will take over the position of student council president next, Chika said. Okay, XN. Shinomiya Kagaya is the most popular student in the school. In addition to being very good in her own right, she also has the Shinomiya family's signature. The Shinomiya family has a distinguished position, and the eldest daughter of the Shinomiya family has become the president of the student council. This is beautiful talk. Almost no one would refuse. And the other party is also the vice president of the student union. The president abstained and she became a full member, so she came to serve as student president, and no one would refuse. Oreki-san, on the other hand, was checking his system tasks. Drop. Congratulations to the host for completing the main mission. Bring order to chaos. Congratulations to the host for receiving the mission reward, the favorability display. Do you want to use it now? Yes. Oreki-san had just tried it when he noticed a pink sign appeared on the heads of the students around him. There are numbers on the sign. Oreki looked at the explanation of the favorability display. Favorability display, it can reflect the favorability of the host. Generally, 80 is the limit between friends and lovers. After Oreki finished reading the explanation, he looked at the classmates around him. Most of them have a favorability rating of 10 or something like that. Since we are classmates at the same school, this kind of favorable impression is quite normal. Okay. This task is passed. Just Futaba-san. Oreki looked over. The favorability level on Futaba's head is rather strange. A 0 is displayed there. If your favorability level for him is only 0, that's too much. Where is the best friend you promised? Do you think he is a troublesome person? But he didn't mean it either. I just think this solution is the simplest. But among the favorability scores that were all around 10 or 20-30, Oreki also discovered a few unique numbers. Ino's favorability towards him is 50. But Defoe's classmates have a very good impression of him. 99. As for the third grade direction, there are two unique numbers. One is 50 and the other is 90. If it's 50, it should be Sakurahime senpai, and if it's 90, the third year senpai he still knows is Kamuro-san. According to the system's instructions, the number 80 means that you have more than friendship but not enough lovers. So does Kamuro-san have such thoughts about him? Oreki didn't think so. Because it was obvious that Kamuro-san was hired by him, but he was an M, so it was probably due to the influence of M's physique. Like to find the owner. After taking on the role of student council president, Shinomiya Kagaya's talents immediately became apparent. She got involved immediately. We also started organizing matters such as convening daily student assemblies and other organizational matters that the student council president would perform in the past. Since he has completed the main mission, Oreki is also thinking about how to deal with the current situation. Can we leave directly? Or stay a little longer? After all, Ichi-nose is still here, so I can't completely rest assured. Oreki-san, please wait a moment. The morning assembly had just ended, and Oreki-san was about to follow the crowd to exit, but found Ichi-nose Hanamai stopping him. Shinomiya-san is looking for you. The physical fitness of Ichi-nose Hanamai in this world seems to be very poor, and he is panting even as he jogs over. But looking at the scenery of her floating chest, it feels completely acceptable. Ichino-san in this world is also having a hard time. I see. Oreki-san nodded. Ever since Fujiwara-senpai abdicated, Shinomiya Kagaya was in a shabby state. Oreki knew that Shinomiya Kagaya was dishonest and wanted to cause trouble, or, wanted to target him. And the reason for it, well, he probably understood. So I followed Ichi-Nose to the student union's office under the leadership of Ichi-Nose. On the way to the student union with Oreki-san, Ichi-Nose Hanamai suddenly spoke to him. By the way, Oreki-kun, what brand of perfume are you using? Oreki-san's brows moved. He didn't use perfume. I don't use perfume, Oreki-san replied. Yes, is that so? Then, is this the original scent? Is it the scent of a handsome boy? Ichi-Nose murmured quietly. The handsome guy's own fragrance. Hey hey hey. He heard this murmuring voice. There's something wrong with you. Oreki-san's attention suddenly fell on Ichi-Nose Hanamai. The two walked side by side, but I always felt that Ichi-Nose's cheeks were a little pink. I originally thought this was just a normal red leap, but from her muttering, I felt that something was not normal. It's like she has a crush on him. Do you want to use the favorability display? Use. Oreki stared at the top of Ichi-Nose's head. 80. A very decent number. And this is where friendship and romance meet. Oreki suddenly felt that it was better not to leave this world for the time being. Dong dong. Hanamai Ichi-Nose walked in front of Oreki-san and came to the office. She knocked on the door first. Please come in. A rational female voice came from inside. Oreki-san recognized that voice as Shinomiya Kagaya's. The door was pushed open by Ichi-Nose. The decoration and layout of the office are also directly revealed. It's about 50 square meters in size. Special desk for the student council president X1. There is a sofa set for guests and a table. There are also green potted plants and so on. It's pretty elegant. The room is divided into two parts. What can be seen now is about 30 square meters, and another dozen square meters are divided into a small room. It should be used as a small kitchen for making tea or the like. There were 3 people in total. Shinomiya Kagaya sat at the student council president's table. Chika and Hayasaka Ai were on the sofa, seemingly making origami flowers together. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 728. Oreki-san. Chika was sitting on the sofa, facing the door, so as soon as the door was opened, she immediately saw Oreki-san standing behind Ichi-Nose. Fujiwara-kun, your paper flower is broken. Hayasaka Ai reminded. Ah, sorry dash. Kinhua's attention had to return. Shinomiya-san, I brought Oreki-san here. Ichi-Nose said. Thank you for your hard work, Ichi-Nose-san. You can go to work first and let me receive him, Shinomiya Kagaya said politely. Also, Hayasaka-san, you can go back first. Good. Ichi-Nose nodded. Then he left like a tool man. Hayasaka Ai was originally Shinomiya Kagaya's maid. Now that Kagaya has become the student council president, she directly pulls her into the student council. There is nothing to say, so she nodded, got up together, and left with Ichi-Nose. Oreki-san had no expression, but he noticed that Shinomiya Kagaya had pushed Ichi-Nose away, but she had not pushed Fujiwara Chika away. Let me start by saying that Kagaya ran for the position of student council president, but she did not expel Chika and Ichi-Nose. The only change she made was that Oreki was fired. Then Ai Hayasaka was added as an additional addition. First of all, welcome Oreki-san to the student union. Kagaya was sorting out documents just now, and she put down the pen gently. And today is not about anything else. It is about my nomination after becoming the student council president. I wish to name Oreki-san. Really? Oreki-san knows that. This Kagaya classmate will definitely not be stable after turning into a sand sculpture. As for the position of student council president, Oreki wanted to change the position midway. On the one hand, he considered that puberty syndrome might cause problems, so he completed the task first. At the same time, another point is, there are many things to do to become the student president. He discovered this when he came to the student union and worked as an accountant for 2 days. Therefore, it is easiest to directly promote Shinomiya Kagaya as the student council president. After all, she is not his girlfriend, so there is no need to feel bad. And now, Shinomiya Kagaya finally found out that she lost so much on a bet, so she wanted to use her power to take revenge on him. Really too young. Because this kind of thing cannot threaten him. Look. Shinomiya Kagaya said, I nominate Houtarou Oreki to be the vice president of the student union. Take care of this school with me. He. To become the president or vice president, you have to take over Kagaya Shinomiya's previous job. Oreki-san would not agree to this. Kagaya continued, if Oreki-san refuses, then I will use the power of the president. She looked at Oreki-san with her beautiful ruby eyes. Today, Kagaya still looks approachable with her hair pulled up. With a slight smile on her lips, Kagaya said word by word, let Junior Oreki drop out of school. This seems a bit unconventional. Chika Fujiwara, who was still in the student union, said. After all, she was also the previous student council president. I have never done anything like expelling a student directly. Hayasaka-san, who was still here, also looked over. Because it looks like an abuse of power. I am the student council president. Please refer to Article 181 of the school's rules. The student council president has the power to kill first and then play later, so Oreki-kun, you choose. Become the vice president, and then drop out of school. I think you will agree to become the vice president. Oreki's mission has been completed, but considering Ichino's side, he decided to stay for a while longer. But this does not mean that he is willing to become a tool for work. So, Oreki-san faced Kagaya and crossed his arms. Shinomiya-senpai, you are taking revenge. It's indeed revenge, Kagaya said, because it was Senior Oreki who went so far in the first place. Kagaya put her hands on the table and even stood up. At first, I thought you had some conflict with Fujiwara-san, and that she would have to demote her position as president. Choosing me to take over is the fastest solution. But think carefully. Actually, you want to pave the way for Ichino-san. Arrange her to join the student union before the election. Then with your current popularity, you still don't have enough popularity, so she may not be elected. In this case, directly arrange for me to become the next student union president. This way I can help you take care of Ichino-san, Shinomiya Kagaya said. Oreki-senpai does have this plan. This school is somewhat similar to Yuchin High School. Being a member of the student council means having certain authority. Although the Ichino's family does not need to worry about finances for the time being, she is still easily pursued in this school where she is surrounded by children of upper-class people. And he just came to complete the task and must leave. So, by letting her join the student union, she can be protected, and if the president is a girl and someone who will not harm her, she can be reassured. As for the person who could protect Ichino's classmate, he chose Shinomiya Kagaya. As a result, the other party has now discovered it. Chapter 349 Two-Level Reversal, Let's Cry Together. Next. Yes, is that so? Kinhua blinked her eyes, she had never heard of such a thing. Because Oreki-san, you damn thing actually really like Ichino-san, and then you even used Kagaya-san as a pawn for him. Therefore, I think it was probably because I fell in love with Ichino-san at first sight that I broke up with her on the day we started dating. This is taking advantage of her and taking advantage of Kagaya-san. Oreki senpai is a bad boy like never before. Fujiwara senpai's expression suddenly became less beautiful, and she had the air of a defeated dog. Well, ignore her for now. Although Oreki noticed Chika's state, he quickly looked away. Because now Oreki-san is in a state of being threatened. Kagaya Shinomiya, the tool man in the original work, actually realized that he was being treated as a tool man. And this kind of thing is really not a good thing. Look. Although Kagaya-san is smiling, her ruby-like eyes are very lively, as if she is speaking with her eyes. And the translation is like this. Oreki-senpai, you are so brave. In order to make arrangements for the girl I care about, you actually use me like a bull and horse. Do you think I will be controlled by you? And if it is not handled well, then Shinomiya Kagaya will give up the burden. Oreki. Think a little. Oreki said, Shinomiya senpai, if you want to name me as a student, I can agree. But. He paused and then said seriously. I want to be the student council president. I am a person who unexpectedly doesn't like to be subordinate to others, so I only have one requirement to join the student union. I want to become the president of the student union. This answer seemed to be beyond Kagaya's expectations. She was silent for a long time. For a moment, she couldn't tell whether the other party was rejecting her nomination or whether the target student council president was there. If it's the latter, then she may be completely used as a gun. Because there is no such thing. If it were a formal election, Oreki Houtarou might still be elected, but it would be very difficult, but now it has come full circle. Let her become the student council president. First, Kinhua can easily step down, and then there will be almost no objection to her becoming the president. And if she gives up the position of captain to Junior Oreki, then this junior will have achieved his goal of becoming the student council president, and at the same time, at the minimum cost. This is the most efficient thing to accomplish at the minimum cost. If that's the case, then this Oreki junior is, but, terrible, so terrible. I need to think about it. So Kagaya hesitated and said. You go back first. There was no immediate answer. Okay. Oreki-san, on the other hand, looked at Kagaya as if he was relaxed, and then walked out. But when he left, Hayasaka AI in the corner quickly followed him. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 729. Oreki-senpai, do you really want to become the student council president? Hayasaka AI caught up and asked. In fact, it's not just Kagaya who feels the need to be cautious, but even Hayasaka AI is a little curious. Because if Kagaya-sama gives up the position of student council president at this juncture, then the probability of Houtarou Oreki being elected is 100%. There is no need to even vote. In other words, this will be the easiest thing in history to become the student council president. So, could it be that this is what this Oreki Jr. did from the beginning? That's a terrible thought. It's not that I want to be it, Dan Oreki said, it's that Shinomiya Kagaya wants it. I want to be student council president, but that's for the future. And this goal is less needed recently. Oreki paused deliberately as he said this. But Hayasaka IG arrived. Because she was arranged by Miss Kagaya to track and obtain the other party's information, she knew that the other party seemed to be suffering from puberty syndrome, and she could win just by buying lottery tickets. But relying solely on the extraordinary ability to win every time you buy, you will not be short of money. But becoming the student president and getting a college recommendation letter from the principal is not that urgent. So Oreki-senpai doesn't really need to be the student council president. And this means that Oreki-senpai is actually not that terrible, scheming bitch who uses Miss Kaguya to achieve his goal of becoming the president. And I may not stay in this school for a long time, Junior Oreki said. But I hope Ichi-nose can finish high school here quietly and safely. Oh. Is it? Hanamai Ichi-nose. Hayasaka-ai's cute brows moved. Hayasaka-ai had collected Ichi-nose's information a long time ago, and then she also knew that Oreki had directly made Ichi-nose's family financially secure after taking Ichi-nose's information from her. It is a type of extra care. Even she felt that Oreki-san probably liked Ichi-nose-san. So, he actually wanted to take more care of Ichi-nose-san, but he might not be able to act as a protector because he might not be in school. So I hope to have a reliable acquaintance as the student council president, so that I can protect Ichi-nose-san? It can be said to be a well-intentioned effort. Then very quickly, after watching Oreki's junior classmate leave, Hayasaka-ai quickly reported the information he had found to Miss Kaguya. Student Union. Then, Hayasaka-san returned to the student union. Oreki-san actually recommended Kaguya-san to become the student council president because he wanted someone to protect Ichi-nose-san. He thinks that for this purpose, he doesn't care even if he uses two senior sisters who are good to him, right? Chika Fujiwara pouted. Chika Fujiwara has actually shown dissatisfaction for a long time. But both Oreki and Kaguya put her to play, and now they could finally express their attitude, and it showed immediately. However, Chika Fujiwara said, Kaguya-kun, I'm sorry about the fact that I was chosen before. I didn't expect that the work of the student union would be so heavy, and it would also affect Kaguya-san, Chika said. Here are her true words. I feel like I have brought trouble to Kaguya-san. The workload is a bit heavy, but it's not unmanageable. Shinomiya Kaguya is much easier to get along with than in her previous ice sculpture state. It's just that it's hard for Kaguya-kun to become the student council president now. And even if the bad student Oreki is named as the vice president of the student union, he still has to perform the duties of the president, which is very hard, Chika Fujiwara said. What do you mean? Shinomiya Kaguya looked over. Because Fujiwara-san doesn't want her to become the student council president. Of course, I'm not saying that I feel bad about being removed from the position of president. As long as Kaguya-san wants it, I can give it to you, Kinhua said quickly. She feels that Kaguya is easy to get along with now, and she also received 200,000 from Oreki. She wants to go shopping with Kaguya, so she doesn't want the relationship to get worse. I mean, don't you want to leave, Oreki-senpai? Fujiwara Chika said. Then he smiled like a politician. And if he has important and irreplaceable responsibilities, he won't be able to leave. So, not letting him be lazy is what tortures him the most. In this way. In the evening, Oreki-senpai received another invitation from Shinomiya Kaguya. Shinomiya Kaguya agreed to his request and prepared to announce that he would hand over the position of captain to him the next day. But perhaps to prevent Oreki-san from going back on his word, after notifying him, Kaguya spread the news about his appointment as president. I heard, Oreki-san. Oreki's classmates were the first to become excited. You have been nominated by Shinomiya-san to become the student council president. Madam, you are so lucky. This is Kochi who climbed up to the fourth house, the fourth house. Actually, I also want to train myself well and contribute to the school. So, can you bring me into the student union? I want to listen to senior sister Shinomiya's teachings, the classmate said. The classmate immediately wanted to take the back door. Even ambitious, hoping to get close to Shinomiya Kaguya. Very true. But unfortunately, even if he becomes the student council president, Oreki will probably only be like Kosake and Agya. Be nepotistic. He was not familiar with this classmate. And some people congratulated. Congratulations, senior sister Shinomiya has spoken, so becoming the student council president is a sure thing. This is the big Buddha Xiaobo wearing big round glasses. I will not change the position of the disciplinary committee member, and Oreki-san said. Is it? Daibutsu and Ino are both ethics committee members, so this is a reassurance for them. Classmate Daifo gently pushed up his glasses but had no other objections. Futaba, do you want to join the student union? Oreki looked at the table behind him. I refuse, Futaba-san said simply. I'm going to find out about Sakurahime-senpai's family situation. I think psychological problems are most related to family, so I'm going to collect information about her mother and younger sister recently. Is it? So it's really hard work. Actually. After all, Oreki had read the original work, so he reminded Futaba. There is a solution to Sakurahime-senpai's problem. If she is not seen by others, then create a scene where she has to be seen. For example, confess her love to her in public, Oreki said. Futaba. Futaba glanced at him coldly. Do you think it's fair for me to confess to her? Yes. Outrageous. But Oreki-san is not willing to use this power. Because. Actually, I don't think it's totally impossible if Sakurahime-senpai is really transparent, Oreki said. But. Hey, Futaba added. Sakurahime-senpai is actually here. Is it? In fact, Oreki had already seen her. A third-year senior is sitting on his desk. Is this polite? The other students could not see her, but both Oreki and Futaba clearly observed her. It's just that Oreki didn't communicate with her. What should I say? Sakurahime-senpai, who had been sitting at his desk, finally couldn't help but take the initiative to talk to him. She actually returned to class, but because no one could see her. But her desk was still there, so the teacher moved her desk away. There is a feeling that there is no place to stand. So I felt very depressed, and then I came to the class where Oreki and Futaba were. It seems that only these two people can see her now. And she was also thinking pessimistically that if she couldn't cure herself, she might become transparent. Transparency will cause trouble in life, such as not being able to buy what you want, and taking it away directly is unethical, Oreki said. So, Sakurahime-senpai continued to listen. The words spoke to her heart. Because of transparency, for example, she wanted to buy bread, but, the clerk couldn't see her, and she could take the thing, but that would be stealing, and she couldn't do it. And I want to give money, but the clerk will also yell at the cashier that the money was overcharged. And this is just the current situation. What needs to be worried about is that if she is unable to make money through transparency in the future, she will also run out of funds. So will you really only be able to steal things in the future? Actually, it's okay as long as there are still people who can see you, Oreki said. For example, me or Futaba. In the worst case scenario, Futaba, or I can hire you. Pay you a salary. My Sakurajima. This can be considered a worst case scenario option. It obviously sounded a bit excessive, but Sakurahime-senpai didn't completely reject it. You sound like I can't solve Sakurahime-senpai's problem, Futaba said. How did you come up with this plan? Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 730. How did you come up with it? In fact, it was just Oreki who thought about the precognitive dream. 10 years later, Kamuro-san is still working hard and working for Kosake Anagha. So. Now it has only been extended to Sakurahime-senpai. Then, I really have some ideas. For example, if Sakurahime-senpai becomes transparent and no one can see it but him, then she can trick her into working as a bunny girl maid for the rest of her life. Because the matter was basically resolved, Oreki felt very relaxed. While Futaba was busy investigating Sakurahime-senpai's family situation, he had a good sleep. Morning meeting the next day. Although everyone probably knows it, Kagaya Shinomiya stood on the summit, but I still want to announce it again. I recommend Houtarou Oreki from Class D, 1st grade, to be the student council president. She said this, with a faint smile, standing on the other side. It's like he's about to retire after success. Most of the students are confused. Oreki senpai has been quite popular these days, dating Chika Fujiwara, and selflessly saving people in the blood swamp. Therefore, his popularity is not low, and this rumor came out yesterday, so it was not unacceptable for a while. Oreki-san glanced at Shinomiya Kagaya, with a faint smile on her face. This Shinomiya senior doesn't want her to be used by him, so. Is this what she meant by taking revenge on him and then removing herself? He made her act like a cow or a horse. So she let him work as a cow or a horse. Junior Oreki, this is my complete reward for you. The previous bet and the things you took advantage of. Oreki-san's face was watery and he was calmly going to speak. When passing by Kagaya, Kagaya-san whispered. Hearing this, Oreki looked at her and smiled softly. Although I deliberately proposed to be the student council president, I also thought that you might not be given the position of general president so easily. But even if it is, it's not so easy for you to make this choice, Shinomiya senpai. What's the meaning? Shinomiya Kagaya's brows moved. But when Kagaya looked over because of confusion, she found that Oreki's junior had already taken the microphone. Look at the students in the whole school. Normal people would probably feel nervous speaking in front of so many people, but Oreki-san is used to it. Because he had a student council president's girlfriend who directly announced that they were dating on the day he took the stage. So I already have a thick skin. And now, he spoke very calmly. Chapter 350 Experience Increases, Making the Best Use of Everything. Oreki-san has already arrived at the podium and holds the microphone. He has never been a student council president, but he has had 2 girlfriends of student council presidents. So at this time, not only do I not have stage fright, I even feel somewhat skilled. First of all, I am very happy and honored to be the 152nd student president. And these are inseparable from Shinomiya-san's help. So, during my term as president, I appointed Shinomiya-san as my deputy. Serve Shinomiya Kagaya as vice president. Work with me. And everyone can accept this result. Shinomiya Kagaya was stunned for a moment. In an instant, all the students' eyes were focused on Kagaya. Some students suddenly realized. So, in the end, Kagaya-san still stayed in the student union, and then took over the leadership with Oreki-san. Originally, some people did not agree with this young student becoming the president, but Shinomiya-san is still in the student union and even holds the position of vice president, so isn't it completely fine? Maybe this young Oreki Jr. is a puppet introduced by the other party. Then the final person in charge is still Shinomiya Kagaya. After all, he was a child of the upper class, so he understood it quickly. Shinomiya Kagaya. Kagaya kept a faint smile on her face. In fact, people around her thought she had changed and was no longer so cold. But now Kagaya-san couldn't help but clenched her right hand into a fist. She knew that she was still plotted against by Junior Oreki. Sure enough, there is no benefit in listening to this idiot Kinhua. Didn't you see that she was still trapped in it? This is Chika Fujiwara's big failure. But Shinomiya Kagaya felt the sights around her. Although the Shinomiya family is very powerful, and the principal of Tsuji Academy can be appointed and dismissed at will, and the student council president is naturally at hand, Kinhua has been dismissed once in public, and she has served as the president once, and now she refuses. Then his reputation will be reduced and he will be considered to be playing tricks on the student union. And Kagaya protects her Shinomiya family name. In this way. If you refuse at this time. Sister Shinomiya has helped me so much. In addition to allowing students like me to integrate into the school, she also hopes to transform the school into a better one. I am very touched by this. Shinomiya senpai, please tell me more. With that said, Oreki senpai handed the microphone to Shinomiya Kagaya. Shinomiya Kagaya. What a bullshit. Didn't you say that she couldn't refuse at all? Feeling very regretful, Kagaya had no choice but to take the phone call. That's how it is. Please continue to support our work. Then he said something extremely contrary to his will. Student Union Office. Members of the student union gather together. But it's like a kindergarten. The vice president was crying while holding his only friend. It's simply unreasonable. Unacceptable. Shinomiya Kagaya hugged Fujiwara Chika directly. It was rare for Chika that Kagaya-san relied on her performance. Yes, Shinomiya Kagaya is crying now. The only thing that cannot be determined is how much is true and how much is false. It was just certain that she was in a bad mood. Okay, Kagaya-san, don't cry. Chika-san comforted Kagaya and touched her head carefully. Then a very strange emotion arose in my heart, as if I had infinite tolerance. This feeling of motherhood made her feel amazing. So after comforting her, she looked at Oreki-san. Oreki-senpai, don't you think it's too much? Bullying Kagaya-san like this. She chose it. Oreki-san said, and we are both going to cry. Kinhua tilted her head in confusion. Of course she didn't understand. Because this is what Oreki-san said to Shinomiya Kagaya. At first, Oreki-san wanted Kagaya to come in and act like a cow. In order for him to no longer be in this world in the future, Kagaya's status as president can also take care of itchy nose. Kagaya was dissatisfied. So she tried to pull him in, but she ran out. But now the ending is that both people are in it. So if you calculate it, both of them will lose blood. And Oreki even had to stay here temporarily to continue making arrangements. Snort. Shinomiya Kagaya buried her head in Chika's arms and glanced at Oreki-san when she heard this. It was obvious that she, with her super high IQ, had understood. Oreki-senpai looked at her calmly. Shinomiya Kagaya also stared at Oreki-senpai. There seemed to be hostile lights clashing in the air. The atmosphere is not very good. You can feel it just by standing aside. I always feel very stressed. Hayasaka-san Hanamai Ichinos, who was working as a chore, came over to deliver documents and felt the atmosphere of the student union and said to Hayasaka-san who came with her. Yeah, Hayasaka, I nodded. She is Kagaya's classmate and also his maid. The identity of the maid is hidden from the public, but the identity of her classmate is known to everyone. Even though I was assigned to the student union, I worked honestly. Current members of the student union. Student Council President Oreki-kun. Shinomiya Kagaya, the Vice President of the Student Council. Chika Fujiwara, the Student Council Secretary. Hanamai Ichinos, the Accountant of the Student Council.